Eric Schmidt defends Google, telling senators the company gets the questions Washington has about the way it does business. Lizzie O'Leary is up on Capitol Hill where Schmidt is testifying. Good afternoon, Lizzie.
Hi, Carol. Yeah, one of the things that was going on here was Eric Schmidt sort of saying, look, we understand the questions that federal regulators have because in large part the senators can also signal to the FTC, which is looking into Google, to the Justice Department, which is looking into some of Google's acquisitions, how it feels about the company. And there were a lot of questions about the way Google may or may not prioritize things in its search algorithms. Listen to this exchange between Utah Republican Mike Lee and Eric Schmidt.
When I see you magically coming up third every time. That seems to me that I don't know whether you call this a separate algorithm or whether you've reverse engineered one algorithm, but either way, you've cooked it so that you're always third. Let's move on.
Senator, may I simply say that I can assure you we've not cooked anything.
Now, one of the things that was also going on here is we were hearing from some Google competitors who run services like Yelp and Nextag about some of Google's subsidiary services like Google Places, that they prioritize their content. At the same time, there is another battle going on here. Essentially, Eric Schmidt trying to discourage senators from looking at Google the way they once looked at Microsoft. He alluded to Microsoft in his opening statements. And then there's also the behind-the-scenes battle asked after the testimony whether Microsoft was sort of helping create a climate unfavorable to Google in Washington. He said yes, Carol.
You know, Lizzie, it's interesting you bring up Google and Microsoft because we've all been making the comparison. I mean, clearly Schmidt is trying to avoid the same legal fate as Microsoft.
He is, and it's both about the law and about optics. Google asked for him to testify alone today. They didn't want the scene where you had Bill Gates sitting alongside two of his competitors back in 1998. But they're really trying hard to say, look, we have an open company, an open platform. He also made the choice to say Google is a choice. You can click away. That's something certainly dismissed by the competitors. But right now, analysts and even some former Justice Department people are saying the antitrust case isn't exactly the same. It certainly has a lot of search dominance. That's going to be one of the big questions, that and this question about prioritizing its content over competitors' content as the FTC investigation continues and as the Justice Department looks at a lot of its acquisitions like Motorola Mobile. And actually, I should point out that Eric Schmidt's Motorola phone rang at the end of his press conference. He made a big show of pointing out that that's the phone he was using.
Gotta love that. All right, Lizzie, thank you so much. Lizzie O'Leary up there on Capitol Hill. I should point out Google shares, everyone, finishing down more than 1% on the day.